Anyone who's ever written a tale or told a story well knows it's impossible to simply adhere to the truth.
The Wonder World set sail! Goodbye! Goodbye, England! Farewell! Look at me! I'm a sailor! Wind in my hair, salt on my skin. I'm a man of the world at last. Everything is just as I dreamed it would be. Everything, that is, until our very first night at sea.
Louis de Rougemont, he actually existed. When I talk about him, I talk about him as like the first tabloid sensation in a way. His ship had been in this huge shipwreck, and he had been marooned on an island, and ultimately he was marooned in various places. He lived with the Aborigines, and he married a tribal member and became a chief of the tribes for 30 years before he was found and brought back, came back to England actually on his own steam, was found by some explorers and then made his way back to England, got to England and told his story in the tabloids and became this huge sensation.
I've read memoirs and I don't know if memory is something that is entirely factual. You know, I mean, I know just from my own life, I don't honestly remember how some things came down. You know, I think I do, but then, you know, people argue with you and you're convinced otherwise. I don't think memory is a pure thing. I think only because we live in the age of cameras that we can now dispute things like this.
I listen to friends around me or relatives and hear the story that I've heard for the umpteenth time, and it's not quite the same ever twice, is it? Or there's more people involved, or it goes to another place. So I think it's inherent in the storyteller's DNA to embellish.
I set sail in 1869. Well, that means I've been lost almost 30 years. That's 3 decades of my life gone. My entire youth spent. Oh, whoa! Oh, wretched, wretched, whoa!
I thought this play was this terrific celebration of the theater and kind of the two aspects of theater that I enjoy the most. I mean, I love the trappings of the theater. You know, the red velvet curtains and the trapdoors and the surprises of it. But I also love that, you know, you work in a rehearsal room most of the time and everything's pretend, you know. And I thought if we could find a way to bring those aspects of the theater into this play, which is really about telling a story, you know, telling a story in both senses of, you know, telling an amusing anecdote, but also telling a lie.
There's a bit of messing with the modern cult of celebrity. Some definite comments on that. And the opening lines of the play start with inviting people into this place, this temple of the imagination, this hallowed hall where stories are told. So right up front he says, use your imagination.
It tries to capture the wonder of the imagination, and yet, and I think it plays very well to young audiences, maybe, you know, 10 and up, who can, you know, because some of the language is a little complicated. For adults, it's a more kind of haunting investigation of what is truth and what is fiction.
The wind roars like an angry lion. It blows so hard. I cannot stand. I crawl on the deck and clutch until the solid thing is within reach. The moaning mast snaps like a twig and comes crashing down.
The notion is that it's done in a simple space, that Louis moves from town to town and hires 2 local actors to play the myriad of other parts in the thing, and that he sort of brings his own sets or finds things that will suffice.
A friend of mine came to, we had an invited dress rehearsal the other night, and he said, he left the theater, he said, it's so rare I go to the theater and I leave exhilarated. And that's what he said. He said he left the theater thinking anything was possible. And I think that's this play's particular gift. And I hope, you know, a lot of audiences leave with that sense of exhilaration.
They seat me in the throne-like chair, and the women of the tribe line up to present me with gifts. Delicacies of all kinds. Baskets full of bananas, pineapples, figs, rats, opossums. Baked snake becomes one of my favorite dishes. It's crispy on the outside, tender and juicy on the inside.